You don't get into a narcissistic relationship by accident. You get into them because something over there feels familiar to you. And this is something most men do not want to hear, because that means this is not just about her at the end of the day. Because somewhere you have to also actually understand what is it inside you that attracted this person into your field. And this video is not going to comfort you, but this is going to give you the truth about the situation as to what are the signs that you are dealing with a narcissistic woman and how you remain stuck in that position as well. So, if you're new here, I'm Vaishnavi and I'm a men's coach, and I help men heal with their traumas, attachment issues, and wounded masculinity in order for them to pursue a meaningful connection first with themselves and also a woman as well. If you want to work with me and get coached by me, you can fill out the form in the description box below. I would go through your answers and see how I can even help you out. Apart from that, if you actually want to work on your masculinity and even get rid of your nice guy habit, you can also check out the course linked below in the description box as well. So, without any further ado, let's get into the video. Sign number one is that her reality actually overrides yours. All the conversation, all the conflicts eventually bends back towards her feeling, her reaction, and her emotions. There is no space for you to actually even occupy in the relationship. It's as if your emotions are framed as too much. There is no scope for you to even communicate your side of the story because the complete focus is on her emotions. Most of the times, your emotions are also minimized in this entire process where she feels she is always in the right. Somewhere you get into a state where you feel like nothing that you do or nothing that you say is ever enough, and it's always her who wins in the conversations. And this is not a problem with your communication alone. This is basically control disguised as emotional dominance that's happening in a narcissistic relationship. And most of you guys watching this did not even realize, okay, this is not just her mistake. You leaned in too fast. You actually accepted all these things pretty early on without establishing your boundaries because somewhere your emotional feeling and attachment overtook your discernment in this connection as well. So, this is not just her fault alone, but this is your pattern actually being revealed over here. And this is also one point that I work with my clients with. Instead of teaching you how to deal with her, my focus is actually on helping you understand how you orient yourself around her so that you can finally end this pattern once and for all. Because the change in the relationship is not going to happen when you try to fix things externally. The change in your relationship is only going to happen when you internally change yourself, rewire yourself to actually show up as your highest version with boundaries and show up as a man who is secure within himself. Sign number two that you're actually dealing with a woman who is a bit narcissistic is that there is strong idealization and intensity in the beginning, and then there is subtle de-evaluation. So in the beginning, she comes off hard and strong with great amount of intensity. When you get pulled in, that is where she actually starts distancing herself. That is when she takes a step back. And then after this, it also moves into criticism in the relationship where you are constantly being criticized and you are feeling that you are actually good for nothing. And it's after this she starts distancing herself, but she doesn't leave you. That's the key point you need to understand. She will devalue you, she will make you feel like you are not good enough, but she will never let you go or she will never let you exit the connection. And this is enough to destabilize you, and this is enough to get you hooked to this whole situation because you go in an attempt to actually get the connection back to how it was in the initial stages. This is exactly why I tell you guys, take your time with a connection and a relationship. People are not revealed completely in the very beginning. People are revealed slowly post a conflict, post difficult conversations. Most of you guys do not even want to have hard conversations early on, and you guys want everything to be sunflower and rainbows. But a healthy relationship actually forms when you have hard conversations in the beginning, because this is how the person in front of you can actually reveal her true nature and character. These are the things that shows you if she has accountability within her, if she can own up to her mistakes. But you don't even create the space for that to happen because you want to secure the relationship because of the void inside you, and then you eventually get trapped in such a position where you are completely destabilized, but you are not destabilized enough to leave the relationship once and for all. And most men will always put the blame on the woman, saying that she never owns up to her mistake, she is the way she is. But what are you doing from your side to prevent that as well? Because this is not just about how she shows up in the connection, this is also about how you show up in the connection, what your values are, what your boundaries are, and how you are unable to stop this behavior from her side because of the lack of masculine strength inside you. Sign 3 that you're dealing with a woman who is narcissistic is that your identity starts collapsing. In this entire relationship, you lose sense of who you are as a man. You lose yourself in this entire process because somewhere there is a person standing in front of you who is constantly telling you how you are not good enough, how you will never be enough, and how you are constantly making mistakes. It's like no matter what you do, this person will not treat you in the right manner. She will criticize you, she will have a lot of fights with you, and she will always put the blame on you. And from this place, you go into an attempt to try harder, to please her a lot. Why? Because you are carrying those internal belief systems within you, which even attracted this connection in the very first place. Somewhere, there are internal belief systems already existing within you, which makes you think that you are not good enough, which makes you feel that you are not worthy of a good, healthy love. And that is the one thing that's making you try harder and even stay for a longer time in this connection. Because think of it this way, a man who does not have these internal belief systems, he is not going to put up with these shitty kind of relationships. This is because you do not have that internal standard within yourself. And this could also go back into your childhood, where you would have to grow up in an environment where maybe you had narcissistic mother or a narcissistic father as well. And that is exactly what I meant in the beginning of the connection. You do not attract these kind of relationships by accident. You attract it because something about this space feels very familiar to your system. Now, I'll tell you a story of one of my clients who was in a 5-year-long relationship, and he had booked the session with me. Early on in the connection, the focus was on himself. He was telling me how he has to improve himself to actually please her, how he is not enough as a man, etc. etc. The deeper I got into the coaching session, it started becoming more clear to me that okay, there is a person he is in a relationship with who is constantly making him feel as if he is not good enough. And she is constantly in an attempt to minimize him and devalue him. Anytime they are having a conversation where he is actually expressing his needs, what he is not okay with, the things that's bothering him in this connection, she will always twist the argument in such a way as if he is making her suffer more than him suffering in the connection. This is known as gaslighting. One of the other very common thing that you will observe in narcissistic relationship is that no matter what you express, at the end of the conversation, it always seems like it is your fault. And this relationship panned out very passionately and perfectly in the initial 2 months. But after 3 months is when her demeanor started changing, where they started having more fights. She constantly started blaming him, saying that, he is the source of all her misery, how he is not letting her live in peace, etc., etc. And then once he was met with these kind of conversations, he tried harder to actually please her. He tried more and more to cut himself off from his friends and from his family as well in an attempt to please her. When you truly start going against your values in a connection, that is when you understand that there is something fundamentally wrong in the connection. And by month 5, he wasn't himself at all. He was anxious, he was depressed, he was feeling hopeless, and he was even feeling suicidal. Why? Because in the last 3 months, he's constantly being bombarded by things like, you are not good enough, you are a bad person, you are ruining my life. What does these words do to a man or a person in general? They end up feeling that they have failed in their life. They are actually making someone else's life miserable. And in this entire process, you start losing hope and your own value. And you even start feeling as if you're a burden on other people as well. And after we broke it down more, eventually it was clear that this is nothing to do with how she was showing up, but this is everything to do with his belief system, what he experienced in his childhood, and how that formed his perception about attachment in itself, and how he felt that he was not good enough, how he shouldn't be chosen as a man in a relationship. And all of these things were getting amplified as if the relationship was just pouring fuel into the fire that was already within him as a result of his childhood. And this is exactly why I do not coach people on surface level dating strategies, because your attachment is formed based on your past relationship experiences and also your childhood. And my main focus when working with a client is actually to empower them to become a man who does not even get pulled into these kind of dynamics to begin off with, to help them understand what discernment in dating even looks like. Sign 4 that you're dealing with a narcissistic woman is that your boundaries actually starts creating instability. The moment you finally start saying no, or the moment you actually draw a boundary, she will withdraw, she will pull away, or she will make it look like you are the one who is in the wrong. Everything at the end of the day is your fault in this narcissistic relationship. So, what do you do in this process? You soften your boundaries, you break your boundaries. When you let someone come an inch within, sometimes they take a mile of you. And this only happens to men who are not secure within themselves, whose need for an attachment is way higher than their need to have a healthy amount of self respect within them. And most of you guys know how to create a boundary, but very few of you actually know how to hold a boundary. And that is a real skill you need to develop. And that will only happen when you start rewiring your attachment patterns altogether. Sign 5 that you are in a narcissistic relationship is that you actually feel addicted to the connection and not grounded. In a way, this connection is shrinking you all the time. Like your life quality has significantly decreased after you got into this relationship. In a healthy, grounded relationship, you start focusing better on your goals. You start developing a vision for yourself because this person is creating a sense of safety for you. But in an unhealthy relationship, you're not able to look at anything outside the relationship because your nervous system is so destabilized by the uncertainty, the inconsistency, and the danger that you even feel in the connection. In a way, you are very addicted to the highs and lows. Why is it so hard to get out of a toxic relationship? A toxic relationship is not something that's constantly bad, bad, bad. A narcissistic relationship is a mixture of highs and lows. And whenever you go through a period of low, subconsciously you are actually expecting the high. And when you have the high, you know for a fact things are going to come crashing down. And this creates a loop and a cycle of dopamine addiction within the relationship itself. And to sum it up, you did not attract her by accident. You attracted her because somewhere you are okay with tolerating chaos. You're okay with tolerating emotional stability. You have traumas that even attracted her into your field. You might potentially even have abandonment wounds as well. And due to this, when someone comes in who actually keeps you slightly off balance, does not give you validation, actually makes you work for their validation, your system locks into this person because there is the familiar chaos in it for you. And the reason why most men stay stuck is because they try to create excuses based on her childhood. Now, she also became this way because of her past patterns, her childhood. Maybe she has been hurt. But it is not your responsibility to actually fix her past. That's her responsibility to take care of herself, to actually understand that she doesn't want to lead her life also in such an unstable manner. That is her work to be done. You are not her therapist, you are not her coach, you are not meant to fix her. You are meant to hold space for her if she actually wants to do her own healing. And you remain stuck because you create excuses for the work that she is not doing. And if you do not fix this pattern of yours, what is going to happen is once you leave this connection, you're going to feel relief. You're going to feel you're becoming more emotionally stable. But then subconsciously, you still associate relationships with intensity. Then there's going to be the next woman who is actually going to show some similar patterns. And even though you feel you don't want to get into a connection with a narcissistic woman, your unconscious actually detects those patterns and locks into her because you haven't done the work to actually heal what was inside you that even attracted this previous person in the very first place. And then within a few months, you will be right back into the same place because you didn't change yourself. You didn't work on your patterns as well. And if this is not the situation that you want to be in, I urge you to actually do the work to heal yourself and take care of all the patterns within you that even attracted this very person into your life in the very first place. And within a few months, you will be back into the same situation that you even escaped from because you didn't change and you didn't change the pattern within you. And if you are done being in such connections, and if you do not want to attract something like this in the future, you can fill out the form in the description box below to actually work with me. This is not going to be surface level advice. This is going to be deep subconscious work to actually purge out and eliminate all the patterns within you, all those attachment wounds within you, which even drew this person into your field in the very first place. So if you're serious about breaking this cycle, you know what exactly to do. But if you're okay being where you are, then you will know how this is going to pan out in the future for you. And I hope this episode was helpful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.